Hey guys, welcome back to CLOWNFISH TV. This is Neon. I'm here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about animation. We're going to talk about the American animation industry.
The American Animation Club.
The American Animation Club. And Thundercats Roar and some other animation news and sort of how this ties into what we've been talking about off and on the channel, that animation, the animation industry has become more of a club.
It is a club.
And that it's not a very financially successful club. That there, I think, are decisions being made by higher-ups who are basically like, yeah, we are done shelling out millions of dollars to bankroll your Tumblr fanfics. Mm-hmm. And that this era of animation might be coming to a close, maybe possibly.
Here's hoping. I'm getting tired of hearing them do things like Thundercats and telling me it's not for me, even though they're using a franchise I used to watch.
Yeah.
I'm like, kiss my rear. If you use an established IP, it's for those people. So
we're going to talk about Thundercats War. Again, there's been no news about Thundercats War other than it's supposedly still being worked on. Can't find anything on it. It's like High Guardian Spice. It's just gone missing. Mm-hmm. We don't, but the rumor is it's still being worked on. This is a show that very few people actually wanted.
When you have to work on something in secret because backlash is too bad, maybe it's not the show you should be doing.
Yeah, it's, and again, this comes down to handling established IP versus rebooting it. Or doing something from scratch. When you're rebooting an established IP, you get the baggage that comes with it, which is the fandom. And we know that a lot of these creators or repurposers have disdain for the old school fans.
They basically do fanfic of the characters, and then people get mad about it because they don't exactly always honor the characters. And then, it's not for you, it's for children. And my friends, mostly my friends, but I'll say it's for children.
So that's where we're going to go with this one. This is, and I don't know how to pronounce his name. Apologies in advance. Henry Jardim. He is an animation industry professional. And
Crap Cafeteria. I'm not going to make that
from the
joke.
Crap Cafeteria.
I'll be good.
He has worked on Cartoon Network shows. He's worked on some other Rick and Morty. I guess he worked on Rick and Morty. And he wrote a Tumblr blog defending the people working on Thundercats War. Now, I don't know how old this blog post is. I tried to find a date. I couldn't find it. It's got like 14,000 reblogs. But it is literally everything that we've been saying, which is basically, it's not for you. It's for kids. Chill out. But what got me about this post, and when you line it up with information from other animation professionals, and even that EZPZ video from a few months ago talking about the animation industry, is there seems to be sort of a thinly veiled threat at the end of this, which is basically like, if you want to work in the animation industry, you'll keep your damn mouth shut about other people's shows.
Put the torches and pitchforks away. Take it from the animation professional.
Yeah.
We'll take it from a teacher. There's something called capitalization.
Okay, anyway. So before we get into the video, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants here on CLOWNFISH TV. We do have opinions. I think the animation industry needs more opinions.
Yeah, they need opinions. They need to actually have to be told no once in a while.
And I think that...
Remind me of spilled children.
Oh, God. So, well, no, there's a definite difference in... people working in animation right now versus 10, 12 years ago. There's been a whole wave of, they talk about the Cal art style. It's not just the style, but I think it's also the Tumblr people that have come into animation. The mentality. And part of me is like, I'm not trying to be a dick, but I'm like, where are the adults that sign the checks? Why are they not reining some of these people in? And I think it's maybe the adults that sign the checks don't really understand cartoons or animation or whatever, so they just let these people kind of do whatever.
Well, if they get offended,
with millions of dollars.
If they get offended by you saying about we're the adults, then stop acting like children. Because honestly, a lot of you behave like children, and you don't want to be called a child. Stop acting like it. So when you say it's for kids, you're meaning yourself and your friends because you're acting like children.
That's pretty much it. We've seen this more and more. Now, this was not the case. I do know some old school animation professionals. I know quite a few of them. And this was not the case 15, 20 years ago. People that worked in the animation industry were very professional. Mm-hmm. They punched the clock. They did their time. They knew what to say and what not to say in public. You did not have a lot of controversy. Now, this is before social media, but there wasn't as much controversy around the individual creators. Now it just seems like, I don't know if it's because the money's not there like it used to be. But it seems like pretty much anybody with any kind of social media following, they're just like, here you go, have a show, have millions of dollars, and just go do whatever the hell you want to do with it. If you want to light it on fire or make a show, it's totally up to you. And we're not going to tell you no. We're not going to tell you this is not a good idea.
No, and that's why I don't understand. Like, they're afraid to tell these people no. And they cannot take being told no. That's what you'll see in this article. They cannot. These people cannot. Not just picking on this person. Just in general, they cannot stand criticism. Like, it's either their way or it's wrong. Like, there's no discussion. There is no critique. When we were in school, we were required to participate in critiques. We had to offer critiques. We had to take critiques. And what you learn from, as a professional from taking critiques, this is what take away from it. Take this from an art professional. A teacher, have worked in all these different things. So you can take it from this person, take it from an art professional. You're learned to critique. You're taught how to do this. You learn to take criticism. You learn to give criticism. You learn to pick out what's real and what's just someone being a dick. There's a difference.
Yeah, and there need to be more dicks working in animation, I think.
Well, there's plenty of dicks.
Well,
not the right kind of dicks.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about, the sort of the incestuous nature of the industry here, but there need to be more people at the top being like, this is a bad idea. No.
This part's a good part. Let's work with that, but let's maybe add this to it to make it more marketable.
No, you cannot have $10 million to have your fanfic animated. That's a lot of money, and we need to justify it. How are you going to pay for this? Is there going to be merchandise? Subscription money? Is this going to bring people to the table? And I think this is why you're going to see more, especially with Netflix, you're going to see more animated series canceled in favor of anime, because the anime industry operates differently than the American animation industry does. You've actually got older animators overseeing younger animators. It is more corporate, I think, because the Japanese tend to be more disciplined overall. It's the truth.
Well, do you see when Disney,
it's a culture.
When Disney puts out movies, do they look like this?
No.
No, there's a reason.
Yeah, there's a reason for it. So, okay, Thundercats War, if I were the executive, and somebody, well, I can see how they got this greenlit, because somebody said, hey, Teen Titans Go's doing really well. Let's dig up the Thundercats and let's do the same thing to the Thundercats. And the exec's probably looking at the numbers and is like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Here's my advice to you execs. Maybe, just maybe, go out to actual fans and do a case study to see if people actually be interested in it before you greenlight it. If you're going to repurpose an existing IP. And with that comes the baggage of, you have fans who love the IP. You can't just completely change it all and make them look like balloon animals and think they're going to be, fine with it.
No.
Plus, people don't like people don't like Teen Titans Go. A lot of people don't like Teen Titans Go.
Of course they're going to watch it when it's the only thing on.
Yeah.
It's on, it's Cartoon Network now is like 22 hours of Teen Titans Go. And
my kids don't even watch it anymore. They just watch YouTube.
Okay, so let's get to the meat of the video here. So this is put out on Tumblr. I don't know when exactly, by a self-admitted animation professional. And again, it's a defense of the show, but it's the last two paragraphs that were kind of creepy, and we'll talk about that. Put the torches and pitchforks away. Take it from an animation professional. There are a few reasons why you shouldn't whine every time there's a reboot of something. Let's use the new Thundercats as an example.
Clearly somebody who didn't grow up with it. If it was something that was their beloved show, they'd have a fit if they took Steven Universe and made it all different, I'm sure.
I'm waiting for that day. That's going to be glorious. Number one, Thundercats doesn't deserve to die.
No one said it did.
No, it's a beloved property that should have a fair attempt at reaching a new generation of kids. Don't let a misplaced sense of ownership or something that isn't yours in the first place ruin a show for other people.
Okay, let me stop you there for a minute. Do I think it deserves to have a fair attempt for new generation of kids? Yes, but stop dumbing down shows for kids. That's all you're doing. You're simplifying the animation. You're making them bumbling idiots or whatever. Because quite frankly, they look like bumbling idiots.
Yeah.
Kids don't need show. Just because it's for kids doesn't mean you have to dumb it down. That is not the case. Or you have to, go really far, far left with it because you have to make sure the kids understand that what's right and wrong. Trust me, kids understand what's right and wrong without you doing this. All you're doing is being preachy, and you're making it in a non-entertaining way. So, yes, it deserves a chance to be rebooted. It did, and look how nice it was.
Well, they talk about that. So, you like the original? Good, you can always go watch it. A reboot of Thundercats doesn't mean the original never happened. This is like
tell the media that.
Think a reboot should be more action-packed and play older. They tried it in 2011, and it turns out viewers didn't want it. I'm going to stop right there because I've heard multiple conflicting stories about this. I heard, well, one, Cartoon Network is terrible at scheduling its shows. This happened with 2002 He-Man, where it had a really good slot at first, and then they kind of like pushed it off on the Saturday night. It was on like Saturday night. Nobody watched it. They didn't push it. And I also heard that the show was actually doing really well. It was the toy sales were not where they wanted them.
But the toy sales were their own fault because what they did was they kept doing what they did back in the day. It was all He-Man and Skeletor and very few other characters, and everyone wanted the new characters.
I also think that Thundercats 2011 was ahead of its time. It came out when anime was sort of in a slump. I think if they had brought this show back now, in this style now, it would do very, very well because anime is huge again. It's huge again. It just got caught in the crossfires. Like, you had shows like, basically it came out when all the Tumblr shows were coming out. And it sort of got pushed to the back burner. And I think if you brought this show out now in this style right now, you put it on Netflix or whatever, I think people would watch the shit out of it.
I think they would too. Real quick before you move on from this too, they're saying about, well, you can watch the old show. That's true. You can watch the old show. I'm not disagreeing with you on that. But what I have a problem with is people like these animation people and the media perpetuate this bullshit excuse of, well, it's not for you, it's for kids. You can just go watch the old one if you like it. And then turn around and bash the original. Constantly, I'm not saying this person is, but other animation people are, media constantly. They mock the people that are fans of the original, and then they bash the original show. So you can go watch that if you're just this ist that lives in their mom's basement. It's not for you. It's for people like us. It's progressive people and children.
Progressive people and children. We'll talk about that later too.
Progressive people act like children.
Well, that's just it. Look, armchair opinion. The new generation of animated series. The new generation of animators, the 20-somethings, early 30-somethings, the Tumblr animation crowd, they're making shows for themselves and their friends and not actually for kids. They're using corporate money to bankroll fan fiction, and they're not actually making shows for a general audience. That is a personal opinion, and you see it time and time again, especially when they have an IP that they piss on, and this has happened multiple occasions where you've had somebody come in that wasn't even old enough to remember the show, and then they're like, well, we're gonna do it our way. And it's like, okay,
well, just make something new.
Okay, so consider the new Thundercats War may actually do well because it wasn't made for you.
Here we go.
The tastes of today's kids are different than ours.
I have kids, and they still think Thundercats War looks like garbage.
Just like how ours were different from the generation before us. Test yourself. I love this. This pisses me off. And they did this with She-Ra too.
This is what I'm talking about right here.
Yep. Test yourself by watching the original Thundercats, and by watching it, I mean actually watching several entire episodes from start to finish. Most likely you're going to get bored and want to change it to something else. A comedic adaptation of it could just be what revives interest in Thundercats.
No, it's not. It's completely ruining, it's assassinating Thundercats.
So we have to throw shade at the original. They did this with She-Ra.
That's what I just said a couple minutes ago.
Yeah, they did this with She-Ra. But the funny thing is, okay, what's going on at Netflix? She-Ra's future, Tumblr She-Ra's future is up in the air. They're bringing back Masters of the Universe, probably in an anime style, based on the studio that's been hired to work on it. And it seems to be respectful of the source material. Fans are super excited. You don't have a lot of controversy around this show because people are like, damn, they're going to do it, and it's going to be the people who did Castlevania? Hell yeah. Thundercats 2011, if you brought it back now, I guarantee you it would kill.
I guarantee it would too.
You already know and trust the artists. You trusted them when they helped make shows like OKKO, which just got canceled, Motor City, Rick and Morty, etc. They're bringing that passion and expertise with them to Thundercats. Nobody wants Rick and Morty Thundercats.
Right, and the thing is, those were their own thing. Notice how those were all their own thing. And it worked for what they were. You can't take that and put it into this IP. It doesn't work. Some IPs it might work on. This one is not going to work.
You'd be surprised at how much a network relies on the artist's unique voices to make their shows stand out.
You'd be surprised at how much networks listen to only the people that are working in there instead of going out and taking new pitches, because you have to have an agent to pitch things because they don't want to be accused of stealing stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's what's going on here. I think somehow these people got the current crop of animation professionals kind of got embedded into the system. And it's just like comics. It's just like comics, where you have people come in and they get embedded into the system, and then they set themselves up as gatekeepers. They set themselves up as tastemakers. They're sort of the worm tongues that weasel their way into an industry, get the ear of whoever's making the decision and cutting the checks and telling them who's okay and who's not okay.
Well, who's going to get a better chance of getting something picked up? People that are already working in there and they see them every day, or somebody else who might have a really good idea but doesn't work there.
Right.
Let's be honest here.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised how much they rely on the people that are actually there because we hired our friends. Of course they're going to listen to them first. They're right there.
Yeah.
That's just
so
Captain Obvious.
Yeah, so we've definitely shut out a large portion of people. We're going to talk about what the actual future of animation is, and it's not.
The next sentence. Oh my
just
God.
from Thundercat.
It's sick. It's not the way you think.
Just from Thundercat Roar's sick intro, you should be able to know the show's bringing something to the table. Bringing
what? Balloon animals? You play, but what? I mean, it's bringing a Thundercats coded OKKO Amazing World of Gumball, Teen Titans Go show.
Yeah,
but the Thundercats coat of paint.
And
that's what it's bringing.
Yeah, pretty much. And Gumball, we like Gumball.
I do like Gumball.
I like shows like Gumball.
But it's its own thing. It's good for what it is. OKKO was good for what it was. Motor City, good for what it was. Rick and Morty.
Universe, yeah.
And of course, never mind that this person worked on Rick and Morty and stuff like that.
I
but,
think they're personally butthurt. It's opening doors for the things you love, whether you like it or not. Reboots like Teen Titan Go and Ben 10 are successful and kids love them. When that's the only thing on Cartoon Network, and they just keep pushing the same 3 or 4 shows, the kids are going to watch whatever's on.
Pretty much.
And we've actually heard Cartoon Network is in trouble. The viewership's actually down considerably.
Yeah, because they're tired of being pushed on it. You know what? My daughter has a choice. Okay, my daughter's a kid. She's right in the demographic you're claiming. You know what she watches? None of these things. She goes and watches anime.
And Miraculous.
And Miraculous Ladybug. Oh, she loves Miraculous Ladybug.
Yeah.
She goes and you know what? It's done really well. And it's really well pretty. And it doesn't look anything like OKKO, Rick and Morty, or Teen Titans Go.
Nope. And I'm sorry, I haven't watched the Ben 10 reboot. I have no interest in it. The original was a very, very good show, and it was done in a different time by professionals. Different time. While you don't have to love them, you should appreciate them. And
you don't have to appreciate things. That's because you say so.
No, you don't have to. It's because of the success of shows like these that networks can have the resources to explore new original content. They're not. They're actually... Cartoon Network is... okay. They mentioned OKKO. They just canceled that. There were a lot of other shows that were... I guess the best way I could describe them are Tumblr shows that either got pilots that didn't go anywhere, or they were a limited run. And yeah, they're not taking chances. I don't think they're taking chances anymore.
I really don't like that. You don't have to love them. You have to appreciate them. You should appreciate them. That's bullshit. I'm an art teacher. I'm an art history person. Just because you don't have to love something. You don't have to love something, and you have to appreciate it. No, you don't. You don't have to do anything. You can appreciate it if you want to. If you can take away some things from it you like, but you can't tell them you don't have to love it, but you should appreciate it. Based on what? Why do I have to appreciate your okay, great. Good point. You don't have to love the original Thundercats. You don't have to love the original She-Ra, but you should really appreciate it. Oh wait, you just got done saying they were boring and slow and they're crap. Hello? Practice what you preach.
Oh God, here we go. This is how progress is made.
This is how progress according to this person's made.
This is why cartoons aren't just cat and mouse chases anymore. Who knows? Maybe a network will even end up developing an original show so successful that in 10 years' time, trolls on the internet will hate its reboot.
Oh, I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting for this person to hate when they reboot the shows they worked on.
Steven Universe reboot. That should be.
I'm waiting for it because you know it's gonna happen.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be. But well, yeah, they don't care. They don't care until something
it matters to them. And then again, stop calling anybody who doesn't agree with you a troll. Because technically, then you know what? You don't agree with us, so that makes you a troll, I guess. Because we don't. There's a difference here. I'm not calling you a troll because you disagree with me.
Okay. I'm just fighting words. Okay, so here's the thing. This is where it gets creepy. This is where it gets really creepy. Because this is sort of, to me, again, objectively looking at this came across like a thinly veiled threat geared at anyone who wants to work in the modern animation industry right now. Let's read this. This concerns me, and this actually jives with what EZPZ said in a video a couple months ago, what we've heard firsthand from people who work in the animation industry, who talk to us behind the scenes.
Who aren't happy with the way these people like this person behave?
Right. So if you're an aspiring artist, this isn't a good look for you. Go through your favorite artist Twitters and Tumblrs and see if they have ever said anything bad about any animated shows.
If they did, I'm sure they deleted them.
Yes. And we'll talk about some things you should probably delete before you delete negative opinions about cartoon shows. You'll find nothing. Why? It's because this is an industry full of cooperation and support for your fellow artists.
Oh, okay, so you're calling people trolls who don't agree with you, but it's all about cooperation and support. I'm like, no, you guys. Can I have some words? Or do you want to say some words first? You say some words first, because I'm gonna rant.
Go rant. I'm gonna sit here. I'm gonna go make some popcorn.
I'm so sick and tired of hearing this load of shit. It is an echo chamber. They're hiring their friends, and they need to be told no sometimes. And if you can't take criticism, maybe you shouldn't effing work in animation, because criticism comes along with any professional job. Criticism and critique. And if you can't take criticism, and it's only about support and loving what other people do, then grow up. Because the real world, you sometimes have to be told, this is a bad idea because. And a lot of these things are bad ideas for many reasons. And I'm tired of being told, well, if you think it's a bad idea, you're just a meaty pants troll. It's like, no, this is a bad idea because this, and this. And it's panning out to be true because the money's not there. You need to find things that are actually marketable and not just what you want to do, your own fanfic or whatever. You need to get a thicker skin, and you need to understand the word no. Because I am so tired of these little you're mean to me, you're just a hater, you're just a negative troll, negativity. No, there's a difference between criticism and negativity. And I'm so tired of hearing, because they literally cannot take hearing anything bad about their idea. It's like they're literally 2-year-olds.
Well, that's just it. It's like, I mean, I keep saying, it's like, we're the adults. I mean, look, when we were giving a pretty objective opinion on She-Ra, we had DreamWorks Animation flagging all of our videos to try to take them off the table.
Within minutes of them being up.
Within minutes.
So we were being targeted specifically.
Like, they could not take any criticism at all. But if you ran the trailer in its entirety and gushed over it,
that you were allowed to keep your
video. You were fine. So they had their crosshairs on us. We've seen other people that have been critical of other animation studios get targeted as well. And the thing is, it is fair use. It's fair use to be able to have an opinion about stuff that's put out there publicly.
Not liking your stuff doesn't make you a troll. I'm so sick of fucking hearing that. It doesn't make you alt-right. It doesn't make you a troll. It doesn't make you all these things because, you don't have to appreciate it. It can just be shit, and that's fine. And I'm so sick and tired of people like this person telling people, well, if you want to work in animation, you're going to have to love everything that gets put out, and you're going to have to keep your opinions to yourself, and you're just going to have to understand that it's all about cooperation and kumbaya, and everybody uplifts everybody else, and even if their idea is shit, you have to say it's the greatest thing ever and suck it up because we said so. And it's like, no, we don't. That's not how that democracy works. That's not how capitalism works. That's not how the real world works.
Well, that's how the animation industry works.
And that's why they're going to fail. And you know what's going to happen? When it fails, there's going to be a bunch of people who are willing to take criticism, waiting to go in and take your place.
That's exactly what's going to happen. So this is where it gets really creepy. And this does sound like a threat, and this does jive with everything else we've heard about the current state of the animation industry, which is very, very different than it was 10 or 20 years ago. Again, having friends who've worked, in animation for a long time, they're like, things have changed over there. It has become a giant hug box. It's also become quite...
It's an echo chamber.
Yeah, and a cult. It's become very much like comics. It's the same kind of thing right now where you get people in there who, once they get themselves in there, that's their job to get their friends in there too, and then they try to keep out anyone who might threaten their...
Why do you think the people keep giving them more and more shows when the other shows didn't do well? Because they're blocking the door from anybody else because they see them every day.
Yeah.
And then they'll just, that's a bad idea because, they're toxic. I looked them up on Twitter. They're toxic. You want to pick up their story.
Okay, so a good portion of the people I follow online are artists trying to break into the industry. We see the things you say.
Don't care.
Your rants don't make you sound like an animation connoisseur.
What? Our rants make you sound like people who actually watch animation. Actually, I think it sounds more like connoisseur. You're not just taking what the shit they shovel and saying it's glorious.
It makes you sound toxic and jaded about an industry you haven't even set foot in yet. Why would a production want to commit to hiring someone they think will just be rolling their eyes at the designs the whole time? If you want to be one of us,
you have to tell, everything we do.
You'll keep your damn mouth shut.
And say, it's all glorious and great, and you guys are so wonderful. Let me kiss your ass again.
This is concerning, because I think this is like a Freudian slip. This goes along with the EZPZ video, which we didn't go there. We actually have talked to some people behind the scenes. We could have gotten a lot more information. We could have gotten a lot more information and done an expose on our own. I didn't want to go there because I couldn't substantiate.
Yeah, we try to stick to facts.
But comparing notes with people that we do know they have worked in animation, yeah, this is the mindset right now. They're talking about how they're basically, they're bringing people in who are green, who don't have a lot of experience. They're handing them millions of dollars to create their own shows. But now it's gone from that to, if you want to be one of us, you better keep your damn mouth shut. Mm-hmm. And that's should horrify you. If you want to work in animation and you're a student right now, that should terrify you, because that basically means that you're going to have to keep your mouth shut about god-awful ideas. There's not going to be any more innovation. We're going to take existing IPs and bastardize them, or somebody above you is going to have a really shit idea and you're just going to have to go along with it. Mm-hmm. That means...
Well, you don't have to. You could choose not to go down this path. But I'm saying for now, as the way it stands, that's what's going to happen.
So again, I don't know how old this post is. I really don't. I'm out there looking for news on Thundercats Roar. There is nothing. Mm-hmm. There is nothing on it. The only mention of Thundercats Roar was actually in Cinema Blend, saying that the highly divisive Thundercats Roar is presumably still on the way. Probably right now where Warner Brothers is they're going to sneak it into their streaming service. I don't know if they're going to make a big deal about it. Again, we're seeing She-Ra potentially ending to make way for a more anime
and they're
style.
already starting to try to bash He-Man.
They're already starting. So it's not just the people working in the animation industry.
It's their friends in the media.
It's their friends in the media. This is exactly like comics.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
This is exactly like comics, where you have the people who broke in and then the wannabes that think they're going to get a biscuit if they, go to bat for these people, trying to block other people from coming in who maybe don't have the right ideas. What is happening is that more and more classic Thundercats content is coming. The new action figures, which we actually saw at the comic shop the other day.
Oh, they're really nice.
Which are pretty cool. So I can't get rid of this damn ad. I don't want your ads. But yeah, they're really cool. So classic Thundercats is being marketed. We've seen nothing from Thundercats War other than a bag at San Diego, which they probably designed months ago, But again, going back to EZPZ's video, this sounds very cult-like. We're seeing other shows get announced.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to bring this up. Yeah, I saw it the other day. They're doing a new show called Centaur World, which looks like Thundercats Roar. Anyway, they all look alike. But, I mean, what I'll give this a pass for on is because it's something new. It is their own thing. It is not a reboot of something. You can get away with this more on your own thing than you can on rebooting things. So I'll give them a pass for that.
Yeah, I mean, this art style, this is not, I don't really like this. But
that was not for me because I'm not a fan of the whatever it is to begin with, so it wouldn't be for me either way.
So this is like, I'm completely indifferent to shows like this. I'm like,
my kids don't like him either. But then this is a person who has been, this Megan Nicole Dong has actually been doing stuff for years, like about 10 years or so in animation, so she's been around a while. She's not like just new. But she had a book deal out with, what was it?
Andrews McNeil.
And it did not do well because it looks stupid. Sorry, no offense, Megan, but it did. Another one of those typical things you'd think they'd pick up, and it did not do well. Imagine that. And now we're giving her a TV show.
Well, it said there's no release date. It received a 20-episode order. Now, I want to talk about this because there are a lot, and again, this is not throwing shade at this particular show. I'm completely...
It's a new thing, so I give him 100% props for that.
Same with Steven Universe. I actually watch Steven Universe. I can appreciate Steven Universe for what it is.
I just think that all these other shows pop up to mimic, and it's like, stop mimicking. And this is also going to be done by one of the people, One Star versus the Forces of Evil, too.
Right. So, again, we have a lot of the same people. And this is what's going on right now. And again, it's so weird because it was like when Adventure Time first came out, and people asked me, like, when did the era of like Tumblr cartoons start? And I think it started with Adventure Time, even though I wouldn't call Adventure Time necessarily a Tumblr cartoon.
No, I think Tumblr went crazy over Adventure Time, and then Adventure Time kicked it off, but everybody started to be copycats of Adventure Time.
I think Adventure Time opened the door for the people who
basically... It was the gateway drug!
It was. But here's the thing. Adventure Time was a tough sell back in the day. When it came out, it was a very, I heard stories about how it got picked up and, some of the drama surrounding it. Nobody wanted to touch it. Cartoon Network finally gave the green light on it. It took years for it to actually get made. And it was unique when it came out. It was unique when it came out, and it's because they let new voices come in who were from the outside. They were kind of outsiders.
They had to work to get in.
And they had to work to get in. Pendleton Ward worked to get in. He really didn't have a lot of experience. He was going to Cal Arts, I think. But it wasn't, I wouldn't consider Adventure Time like Cal Arts style. It was I think it was more influenced by webcomics than it was anything else. But it was unique. And now all these shows, even though...
They all look alike.
They all kind of look alike now. It's all like... This person probably grew up watching, or not grew up, but was around, heavily influenced by shows like Adventure Time. So it became that sort of like LOL, so random humor, goofy, weird-ass character designs, very simplistic art, and it's sort of become this like self-perpetuating thing. And the pendulum's starting to swing the other way, where what is more popular now, we've talked about before, is anime. Anime is definitely coming back. But what's interesting is that Netflix is chopping a lot of its animation executives. So I have to wonder, again, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but I have to wonder if Netflix as a company that is losing money is looking at these people and being like,
why do you keep picking these duds?
Why do you keep picking these shows? Why do you keep picking these shows? We can't make merchandise. They're not really appealing to kids. They're basically shows by young adults for young adults. We're giving you tens of millions of dollars to make stuff, and this is what you pick. I don't know. But, it does seem to be getting a 20-episode order. Again, not throwing shade at the show. It's just indicative of...
It just looks like all the other shows.
And she worked on other shows. So again, this is,
So she obviously had an in. And I'm going to tell you straight up, people are like, how do you pitch shows? I'm going to tell you straight up, unless you're already in there, you're going to have someone represent you, because they won't even look at your pitch unless you have someone representing you, because they don't want to be accused of stealing stuff. Yeah. So to make it easier on themselves, they just go, they already have people that are there that get their ears, so they just go with those people instead of actually looking outside. Which, executives, stop being lazy. You need to look outside. This is getting tired and old. Just saying.
Well, I think the next wave of animators are actually going to be indie creators that get picked up. They're actually doing their own stuff. You're seeing some really phenomenal stuff on YouTube. And there are people making more money on YouTube doing animation than you're going to make working a day job, working on a show for Netflix or Disney or whoever. And that's kind of weird. And I think you're going to see this paradigm shift. But then the flip side is, if these people are making so much money on YouTube, why are they going to go take a deal and get locked into a studio for less money? And they own...
And rules, stipulations.
All the rules and stipulations and the stress and the... Why would they? If you're making, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year or even $1 million a year just doing your own stuff on your own timetable, why the hell would you want to go work for like Dreamworks or, and work and have to move to LA and do all of that? So... the future of animation is probably going to be the people that are already doing it themselves. And you might actually see more individuals, just like you have with other media, see more individuals pop up doing their own thing outside of the studio system and making bank that way. That might be the future of animation. And then it doesn't matter if you're an outsider or not. The playing field is level.
I'm sorry, I'm just trying to wrap my head around why everything from the 80s was so shit and boring and looked terrible, and then this is what we got, and this is supposed to be an improvement. I just can't comprehend how this visual is an improvement.
I don't know. But yeah, some other stuff, speaking of Netflix, they're announcing some of their shows that they're going to promote at New York Comic Con this year. Last year, they had a big push for She-Ra.
That's all it was She-Ra. I think they didn't push anything else.
And they're not talking about She-Ra at all. They're talking about Big Mouth, which has been around for a while, and it did get renewed. They're talking about Lost in Space, but there's nothing about She-Ra.
And there's a new Daybreak show.
Right, and people are jumping on us and saying that She-Ra season 4 is in the can. It's going to happen for sure. That we don't know what the hell we're talking about. That I should go pound sand or something like that. And I'm like, it hasn't been confirmed yet. We don't know where it is. I know that people working on the show are out of work, and it could come back to, Netflix. Deciding that these shows, the way they've been doing them, are not working out. But it's weird, talking about just real quick here, we'll talk about this because people have asked us about it on Twitter and whatnot. The animation industry, we talked about how it is kind of incestuous right now. It is kind of cult-like, and we have the media supporting.
Yeah, the media definitely supports. They have their friends in media.
They have their friends, the friendly media. We have people, supporting the current regime, I guess, in the animation industry. It's really interesting. I just want to bring this up, just kind of the difference between who is and who is not promoted or accepted in the animation industry. There was a big kerfuffle a couple of weeks ago about Matt Groening getting a foot rub from...
That's creepy, dude.
That is creepy. I'm not gonna lie. That's creepy. But it was all over. It was all over the news.
Well, that's because of the Epstein thing. But that dude, if a kid comes... I don't care how old they are. They're like, you don't know them, and they don't just say no. I mean, ew. Yeah, that's not cool.
So this was, I wouldn't even go there. This was all over the news. It was all over the cartoon blogs, whatever.
Yeah, it's nasty.
This broke loose, talking about tweets and Tumblr posts that you should delete. It's interesting that they said that, any criticism of other people's cartoons, you absolutely need to get rid of if you want to work in the industry. This is Julia Vickerman, who is a showrunner of 12 Forever at Netflix. I don't know if she's still the showrunner of 12 Forever at Netflix, but there were some pretty, I guess, spicy posts by her on Tumblr regarding her and some underage boys.
She was creeping on underage boys. She was even following them around trying to take pictures of them.
She didn't do anything. As far as I know, she didn't do anything with any of these boys, but, and these posts were out there for years as she's working on different shows.
Yeah, aren't they checking? Aren't the studios checking this?
So I'm like, if you're worried about, and I'll put a link to that, you can go read them for yourselves. I don't want to get into it here, but she did delete all of this stuff. But there's a lot of stuff that she likes them young, I guess. But if they're out there patrolling your Tumblr, looking for criticism of shows, but apparently it's totally cool to have this kind of stuff out there.
Yeah, so if you're out there looking for stuff, maybe you should, maybe these studios should worry about this kind of behavior instead of worrying about people criticizing your shows.
That would be my takeaway. It's like, instead of policing people's Tumblrs and Twitter, looking for criticism of other people's cartoon shows, I would be policing your showrunners for potentially creepy posts, which I said, they were out there just as of a couple of days ago, and there was a video, I think it was Shoe on Head did a video, and once that video went up, all talk of this just disappeared from the internet. But of course the internet, archives everything. So I would say that this is probably a little more important than whether or not you're trash talking She-Ra or Thundercats Roar.
Yeah, and the whole idea that you cannot have an opinion unless it's the right kind of opinion is absolute garbage. The whole idea, I thought, was people are different, and that's good because you get different ideas and different opinions, and you work together to create something that'll appeal to a lot of people. But that's not what these people want to hear. They all want to hear their ideas are the greatest ideas ever, even when they're shit, and that, and they're clearly targeted to one audience, which isn't very good financially, and they don't want to hear any other ideas. If you have a different idea, you're a toxic troll. You have to appreciate what they do. I don't have to appreciate anything you do. I don't appreciate what you do. I think what you do is shit. So stop doing it. Anyway.
Yeah, I think the animation industry right now, American animation, if it's going to survive, needs an injection of new ideas. And it's so weird that the people now who are like, we're bringing the new ideas, really aren't. They're repurposing other people's shows. They're trying to get their fanfics through. And anybody who disagrees with them are being kept out.
They're told they're toxic, they're trolls, even though I'm still stuck on that troll thing, because troll-like behavior is what they're exhibiting, and then they're telling everybody else they're trolls.
They're patrolling their bridge.
Like, you are a flippin' troll.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but you are a troll, because everything you're claiming everybody else is doing, you are doing too. That makes you a troll.
You're parking it on the bridge and making sure that only the right kinds of people get through. And, the animation is not going to evolve beyond this Tumblr style that we're seeing right now, but the pendulum's already swinging. I think Netflix is already catching on. They want to go more anime now. They want to kind of go back to the more detail. I mean, Adventure Time was good for its time. It was groundbreaking, and then we just had a bunch of copycats, for years. And we've been this 10 years of, we had a couple of good shows. I'll admit, we had Adventure Time, we had Gravity Falls, you know, we did get a lot, but Gravity Falls I would not lump in with the Tumblr shows either, because
No.
the production qualities were it was very, very good. I would say it's more akin to like The Simpsons than Tumblr show, but you know, we're just seeing a lot of stuff that just, I don't know who's cutting the checks for this.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know who's cutting the checks for this, so somebody's got to pay for it. All right, so we're gonna wrap this one up. Just some thoughts on Thundercats War in the animation industry, and we'll see where things go from here, I guess. So this has been Neon and Geeky Sparkles. We'll talk later. Hey guys, thanks for watching CLOWNFISH TV. Please consider supporting the channel. Go to clownfishsupport.com. That's clownfishsupport.com. And if you want to join our community, go to clownfishtalk.com. That's clownfishtalk.com. Please subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We will talk to you next time.